Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for joining me. If you're new, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, why don't you say hi to Pixie? Pixie, you gonna say hi? That would be so freaky if she actually said hi. Like, but I am so excited. I am planning a trip to Cuba in August, and it'll be my first time going. And whenever I'm traveling out of the country, I always like to do my due diligence and do research on things that are socially acceptable and that are not, just so that I don't offend anybody or even worse, like get arrested. So I did my research on Cuba, and some of the things were actually pretty shocking. So I just wanted to dedicate this video to that, just in case there's anybody else out there that is planning a trip to Cuba and just want to know what's acceptable and what's not, because everywhere is not like the United States. We're actually pretty laid back compared to other countries, and you're gonna see why I say that with this Cuba list. So I pulled up, and I'm gonna be looking down periodically because I have the list pulled up here because I can't remember everything. But it's a list of 11 things that you should never do in Cuba. So the first on the list is don't talk politics. So, I mean, if you're on vacation, the chances of me talking politics while on vacation is very small. I barely talk politics in the States. But anyway, Cuba remains a communist country despite recent reforms, and the government does not tolerate any criticism. If you strike up a discussion about politics or the government, you'll likely make people uncomfortable, and you could end up being reported to the police for being subversive, for being a subversive foreigner. So yeah, no talking politics when you're traveling to Cuba. Just play it safe. If anybody mentions it, just smile and nod, okay? The second one, don't stay in the orange casa particulares. Across the country, there are houses where foreigners can stay, almost like an official network of bed and breakfasts. Foreigners are only allowed to stay in the casas that have a blue sign outside, and houses with an orange sign are only for Cubans. Talk about segregation. Both you and the house owner can get in trouble if you stay in the wrong place. So there's these blue houses, or excuse me, are they blue houses or... Let me see. Okay, so there's these bed and breakfasts. They either have a blue sign or an orange sign. So foreigners have to stay in the blue sign ones, and everybody else, if you're Cuban, can go to the orange ones. So if you're staying at a bed and breakfast, make note of that. Don't work on a tourist visa. Now that one's pretty self-explanatory. That's kind of like everywhere else. If you're just on a tourist visa, that means that you're just supposed to be visiting and that you're not supposed to be collecting income or earning revenue while you're there. So yeah, most visitors are only allowed to spend 60 consecutive days in Cuba, but it's important to remember not to do any work if you are on a tourist visa. Journalists come in for particular scrutiny, so be careful who you ask questions and what you might ask. So be careful who you ask questions and what you ask them about. You might be called in for a police interview if it is suspected that you are working on a report. So if you're a reporter or journalist, make note of that. You might get picked up and arrested for working in Cuba if you're not Cuban. The next one, don't take photos of police or soldiers. Which, that one, I'm very glad that I saw that, because they have those really cool looking uniforms, and so it might be cool to take a picture, you know, but no, you can't do that. Professional photographers and keen hobbyists should also be aware of what they take pictures of. It is illegal to shoot any photos of police or soldiers in Cuba. You might get away with one or two like inconspicuous shots, but if you get caught, you might be accused of espionage. So no pictures of the police. Don't be shy. Cubans tend to be loud and animated, especially in Havana. Even if your Spanish isn't the best, make sure you put yourself out there to get the most out of your trip. It's certainly not a place to be a wallflower. So join in as much as you can. So being shy or reserved offends them, it seems. Okay, don't get confused by the two currencies. There are two currencies in use in Cuba, and they vary hugely in value. One convertible peso is worth 26 Cuban pesos. So always check your change to make sure you aren't getting ripped off. Good to know. Don't expect to find creature comforts. There are serious shortages of many consumer goods in Cuba, so make sure you bring everything you need with you. You might struggle to find toothpaste and shampoo or even toilet paper at certain times. So I need to pack my own toilet paper? That's what it seems like they're telling me. Okay. Don't forget to tip. Just like anywhere else, everybody wants that moolah. The basic salary in Cuba is very low for most people, and the cost of living is high. Those who work in the tourist industry are likely to rely on tips to ensure a decent standard of living, so don't forget to tip. Okay, this one blew my mind. Don't blow your nose in public or spit in the street. Now, I suffer from allergies, so what they're saying is if I feel one coming, like a then I need to be scurrying away from people before I can let it rip. And that's crazy. I gotta remember to pack, my allergy medicine, because that's crazy. I'm not gonna run out of the room if I feel one coming. Like, that's the last thing I'm thinking of. I'm just thinking about getting it out. But anyway, one of the cultural curiosities in Cuba is the attitude towards blowing your nose and spitting in public. In many other Latin American countries, no one would bat an eyelid if you cleared your nostrils in company, but Cubans find it incredibly rude. So go somewhere private if you need to. So I can understand the spitting thing, but the blowing of the nose, you have to excuse yourself before you blow your nose. Okay, don't fall for the touts. Everywhere you go in Cuba, you'll find friendly locals offering advice and directions. While some of them are genuine, there are others who will take you to bars and restaurants where they will charge a commission or expect payment from you. Keep your wits about you. That's like in a few other countries. You just have to stick to your gut. If you have a weird feeling about somebody, just smile and walk away. Don't turn down a drink from a shared glass. On many occasions, you'll see Cubans passing around one glass of rum and taking a sip or a shot before it's passed on to the next person. Turning down your turn is a surefire way to cause minor offense. If you want to make new friends, drink like the locals do and share the glass. So since I'm traveling there, I doubt we're just going to be passing around drinks like that. I'm not going to share my glass with a stranger. But that's it. That's the list. That was 11 things that you should never do in Cuba. So I am going to try to remember these things on my trip. I will be recording my trip to Cuba. I'm going by way of Carnival Cruise Line. I can't remember the name of the ship, but it's going to be a 5-day cruise. I'm going to be going to Key West and spending the entire day, 24 hours in Cuba, and I am so excited. But yes, stay tuned. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that video or any of my other videos. Thank you guys for joining me, and see you soon.